Peter Thomas Fornatale here, not at the DRF offices in New York, but at Harvey Pack's apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Over the course of a series of videos, we're going to be talking to Harvey about some of the best stories from his decades in horse racing, broadcasting, etc. Can't wait to hear what he has to say.
Incidentally, the guy sitting here was the producer of the Zero show one summer, and he sucked around and tried to make me like him. And then, when I think it was, I think Mandy Minger at the Forum said, you know, you could write a book. I said, I used to write when I was a columnist. I'm not writing anymore. She says, we'll get someone to write it with you. And she suggested Pete. I said, can he write? He doesn't look like he knows anything. And she said, he's not bad. So we took him, and I dictated, and he transcribed it, and that's how we got a book. And as a result of that, he's now working at the Forum. He's written a few books, and I like him. That's the best part. I still like him.
You're very kind. In your own way.
As kind as I can be. I'm trying to think of other stories that I've told so many times, and naturally I'm drawing a blank. It's one of the things that, oh yes, I used to tell the people, one thing about the racetrack, old people are laid off from their jobs, you're never allowed to make another decision, your life is empty. But not here! You can come to the track, we'll let you make 9 decisions a day. 9 decisions a day. And in 10, 15 minutes, you'll know if you're right or wrong. You'll never feel lonely again. And one thing you don't want to do is go to a casino, because there, they don't let you look at the cards before you bet. We do. We let you handicap in the racing form. Don't go to casino. What do I do now? I go to casino because I'm an old man with nothing else to do. It's very sad, but I do go to casino. I go to Atlantic City because they're very nice to me at the regatta. They don't know me, obviously. And but that's where I go at least every 2 or 3 weeks for 2 nights.
You still bet, though. You still bet horses. We talk about
bet
stuff
every day. A day without betting is like a day without sunshine. And I bet every day, and I don't bet a lot. I really don't, because I never did. My father taught me that. He said, don't ever bet a lot, and don't ever tell people you go to the racetrack. And he was a horse player. That's how I got involved. So when I got the radio show, and he would sit on the train going to the track, and he'd hear people talking about it, he became my biggest fan. And I said, gee, Dad, imagine if I had never told anyone I went to the racetrack. But he really enjoyed it. And he was welcomed by name, came to the gate. He was arrested once at Calder Racetrack. I had a TRA button, you know, they gave me, and Dad was going down to Florida with my mother for the winter. And I said, you won't need a pass, just put this on and you'll walk right through. And I gave it to him, and he went to Calder, he walked right through, never stopped. One day, they stopped him. Kenny No was the head of Calder. Kenny No really didn't like me. And he was probably thinking about throwing my father in the clink. But he did call, and he said, you know, you could have called me. I would have given him a pass. I said, well, now's your chance. And he did.
That's tremendous. I remember a story that I've heard a few times. I don't know. I don't think it needs to be retired, but it should be told.
That's thunder, incidentally, not horses.
The story. This is back when you were working at NYRA. Maybe I think it was the first year you were working at NYRA, because it was when you learned how it worked when it was time to ship up north to Saratoga.
Yes, that is a true story, very true. They used to put your paycheck down, whatever, every 2 weeks, everything, and one day I walk in, there's another paycheck. And I open it up and I look at it, it wasn't enormous, I can assure you, but it was $500-600. And I called up finance, I said, why do I get that money? That's your stipend for going to Saratoga. You pay me to go to Saratoga? I don't believe it. And sure enough, they did. And in the end, they were renting my house, they were doing a lot of things for me, but never giving me money. That's another thing that you don't understand. I feel like Mickey Mantle when he was making big money, $700,000 for playing, and today the worst second baseman gets $5 million. I feel the same way, because when I got the show on the air and sold it for them to Sports Channel, I went into Jerry and I said, well, am I going to be paid for this? Why? You work here. And he added another truthism. He said, if we fired you, you'd be here tomorrow paying admission. I said, you got a point. And they didn't pay me, and I did it. Finally, they got me a car, and they paid for the garage for me. The garage at that time was $40 a month. I'm paying it for it now, $650. So think about it. What a wonderful life I've had. But I was happy, and I did have great times at NYRA.
When you think back to the great horses you saw run at Saratoga, are there any particular performances on the track that stand out?
Well, you know, people always say to me, who was your favorite horse? And I always say to them, if you tell me your favorite horse, I'll know your age. Because everybody, it's the first great horse they see. Now, in my case, it didn't happen up there, because when I went, the track was 46 in those days. Citation was running. And the horse that endeared himself to me was a horse named Stymie. Stymie would come from dead last by 30 lengths and come flying through the stretch and win. He won a lot of races. He was claimed, I think, for $1,900 by Hirsch Jacobs from King Ranch, and went on to be a real horse millionaire, big stud and everything. And the funny thing is that a friend of mine called me from Cincinnati, Ohio, said, I'm sending you a book. I said, what is it? He says, you're not going to believe it. It's a book about Stymie. And I got it the other day. And that's my favorite horse. Citation was the greatest I ever saw, but there were so many. As far as while I was at the track, there was nothing more fun than the affirmed Alydar. There was nothing quite like it. And of course, Seattle Slew going over the line in the Belmont and Krugay waving his stick. I said, if he falls off, we'll have a wonderful story, won't we? But he didn't. And it were great times. And quite frankly, when it comes around this time of the year, I'm a little nostalgic that I'm not going up. After all, I was up there for 35, 40 years, and it was very important to me. But I can live without it, as long as I can get to the casino.